I don't know quite how to follow that. So I'm going to be slightly, I think, disappointed here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the work we're doing on healthcare delivery reform and payment reform. I'm Rob Saunders, and I help coordinate in some of that work that we're doing. And really, we should all start this from the theory that the whole goal of the portfolio of work that we're doing is to try to improve patient care. And while that sounds very simple to do, of course, it turns out to have extraordinarily difficult, complex policy nuances. And for a couple of reasons. Some of that is that there is extraordinary complexity in patient care today. There's more insurance options, more network options, narrow networks, new benefit designs, new types of treatment options, which makes it very complex for patients. And we're lucky that we have one of the nation's leaders in understanding how patients deal with complexity, and Peter Ubel here. But there's also other challenges as well. People are concerned about the rising cost of healthcare. There's more chronic diseases nowadays, which means care is not only care is needed to go beyond the hospital walls and out into the community to help provide other resources to keep people well. So that's part from the patient side. From the clinician side, there's also challenges here. From a clinician point of view, there's more to know, more to do, more to keep track of than ever before. I think I read a statistic that for the average primary care physician to provide all of the guideline recommended care, they needed to work about 21 hours a day just on direct patient care, and then go, of course, and work on their EHR for the rest of the 3 hours for the night. So clearly this is pretty difficult. There's a lot of coordination, and as a result, there's a lot of stress and burnout. A recent AMA survey said that about half of physicians are reporting symptoms of burnout. So the policy implication of that is we can't just add on to the existing clinician workload. We have to think about delivery and payment system policies that help relieve that, help streamline this type of work. And all of this is taking place in a broader policy environment where we're transitioning from the traditional fee-for-service world to alternative payment models, new types of ACOs, new types of bundled payments, and the like. But as Mark noted, we really don't have the evidence that we need to do that. There's limited evidence on what works and what doesn't, or even more specifically, what works in different environments. So if I'm a rural hospital in North Carolina, how do I know that I'm best served by becoming an ACO? Would it be better that I stay in a different type of delivery structure, but maybe go under bundled payments? And that type of evidence we just don't have nowadays. So what I want to show you with all that backdrop is the streams of work that we're doing under healthcare delivery reform. And there's three main buckets to this mildly complicated graphic. The top two are really thinking about the data resources that we can build at Duke. On the top left, we're talking about an evidence hub that brings together types of data from multiple types of institutions together to try to quickly answer policy questions. On the top right, we're talking about resources that we can create inside of Duke to help bring that type of evidence. And then we want that all to feed into the implementation of pilots and other types of projects that we can do to help change the delivery of care at a local level, at a national level, and international level. So let's go to each of these in turn. So going to that top left one on that evidence hub, we've got some immediate work that we're already doing underway in that regard. We have a project with the CMS Innovation Center looking specifically at community-based palliative care, as well as work that's supported by the Arnold Foundation on faster evidence generation for payment reforms. And my colleague Don Taylor will talk about both of those in a little bit. But we'd like to go more broadly than that and really start to take advantage of a variety of different types of distributed data work. We're lucky that Adrian Hernandez is here, and he's going to talk a little bit about how we can delve into CoreNet, another nationwide data resource, and really start to build out those types of data work. And I'm going to note that you can't hear me. Okay. Well, then, so secondly, we're also trying to look at building out Duke's data infrastructure. And there's some obvious immediate opportunities, and we've got some resources out here today. My colleague Jeff Clow will talk about some of the work he's done using Medicare claims data to expand and look at specific policy questions. But again, we'd like to expand that work and expand those data resources to be able to more quickly look at some pressing policy issues like unintended consequences of proposed policies or other types of proposed policy implications. And we're pleased that Leslie Curtis and also Larry Karen will help talk about some of those expansions in data that we hope to see over the next few years. And then also looking at where we can implement some of this work and make it real. And we have immediate applications in a variety of different lenses, some at the Duke level and using the Margolis Center to help inform Duke's strategy as it's seeking to redesign its care pathways and to become the next generation of ACOs. I'm pleased George Cheeley and Dev Sangvi are going to talk about that a little bit later in this program. On the national level, we've already started providing some input. We, this week, provided a letter to CMS letting them, giving feedback on their proposed regulations on MACRA, the law that reforms the physician payment system for Medicare. But we've also got work on digital health, on encouraging better primary care and specialty care coordination. And my colleague Steve Farmer will mention that later on in the program. And then we're looking at the international level, such as places where we can see accountable care organizations in other countries or supporting healthcare innovations. And our colleagues Krishna Udayakumar and also David Ridley will talk about some of those pieces later on. During our strategic planning work, we've identified multiple other types of work that we can start to look at, from trying to discover new types of efficient and effective quality measures that we don't have nowadays, trying to think about the role the patient might play in some of these clinical reforms and in types of benefit designs and the like. So with that, I'm going to start turning the ball over to a couple folks who are going to illustrate some of the specific work we're doing and immediately turn things over to Don Taylor, who's going to talk about our Evidence Hub.
Hey, I'm Don Taylor. I'm a professor in the